Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show and our usual Monday night roundup. I'd like to say that I am joined from the off by Gareth Walker and by Dave Foy. Stephen Downes is going to join us a little bit later on. We think. First things first. How are we, lads? Are we well?
So bad, mate. How are you?
Not too
Yeah,
bad.
very well. How's things, Dave? All good apart from the result on Saturday?
Yes. Yeah.
Ish. That's
Yes,
very,
ish,
very
yeah.
ish.
Yeah, ish.
We will find out a little bit more about why Dave is so ish a little bit later on. Gaz, I would assume that you're still buzzing from me being the good luck charm on Saturday, coming on to Valley Parade for Bradford's win over Colchester.
You can come again if you want, Chris. Especially if it's one of your heroes that we're playing against that gets an absolute hiding. Then, yeah.
You weren't this mean about it on Saturday, yeah, Gaz, so...
No, I wasn't. To be honest, I'm not... some City fans are getting carried away again. I'm not getting carried away, but obviously we'll talk about it later. We've got to remember those two results that we had against Gillingham and Tranmere. But it was a really, really good performance.
Not getting carried away, says the man who was singing we're going to win the league as he was leaving Valley Parade. We will come on to that a little bit more later on. I'm going to start, though, with big congratulations in our non-league scene to Silsden AFC, who have now been confirmed as the NCEL Premier Champions. They won at the weekend, when I find the right page, by 2-1 away at Pickering Town. Goals from Cale Price and Robbie Fox, which meant that they have opened up they've got a 7-point gap at the top of the NCEL Premier with 2 games to go. A great job that Matt Cavanagh has done there with his side this season. Obviously, the expectations were high, and obviously, Dave, I know you dabble in the non-league scene around our neck of the woods, and you know the NCEL. Obviously, you've been to some games with Downes in the past as well. And for Silsden, it's a big achievement for them because, to be fair, I remember only 5 or 6 years ago going to a final day of the season game when they were relegated from the Northwest Counties Premier down into the NCEL Northwest Division 1, which is what the likes of Steeton and Route 1 Rovers are in now. So for them to kind of obviously got themselves back up a league, obviously switched over to the Northern Counties East side, and have now got themselves a promotion that will mean that next season, they'll be mixing it with the likes of Bradford Park Avenue and potentially Emily if they don't go up. Obviously, Garforth, a lot of West Yorkshire sides in that league. So a massive achievement for Matt Cavanagh and his coaching staff there and the squad as well.
Yeah, and I can add another name into that ring. They've done, unfortunately, the only way I can really say it is they've done a Park Avenue. Live Spartans, I think, are going to be in that league as well. If they follow the same route as the likes of Ashington and Mop have been in there before. And currently, they could even have Live in there. But, yeah, great achievement for Silsden. But, again, like all teams that win the league, you've named two absolute goal scorers at that level there that confirm them as champions in Price and Fox. Was he at Farsley? Or did Farsley take him on? You know what I mean?
Robbie Fox.
Go on, Chris.
He had a really good season for Albion Sports last season. Farsley in the summer when it was Clayton Donaldson and Danny Ellis at the helm right at the start of the season kind of took that chance on Robbie Fox for obviously National League North level. He got, to be fair, I remember him scoring a couple of goals as well early on, but obviously we know the way that things have panned out for Farsley this season.
Exactly.
It was a real coup in the end, I think, for Silsden, to be fair, to be able to get him ahead of potentially some MPL East sides already. But what a potential goal scorer you've got on the books for next season. As you say, 2 of them there as well with Cale Price.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the first bit of business Silsden maybe need to do is look to get those 2 tied down. I don't know what Silsden's status would be in terms of, I'd imagine those 2 are on contracts at that club. I know at that level you can give 7 days notice and essentially play for somebody else. I would imagine the likes of Price and Fox and maybe 1 or 2 more will be tied to contracts, but I'd say the first bit of business is keeping hold of those 2. And there's no reason why they couldn't even do an Emily next season if they keep hold of them and be right up there, in those top 7 places.
Well, this is the thing we've seen from Emily this season, the MPL East, which we'll come on to in greater detail later, but we've seen with Emily that keeping a squad together, or largely together at least. Of course, they lost the couple of the front 2 to Bury, but by keeping the bulk of the squad together and adding 1 or 2 as the season has gone on, it's it can work, that continuity. And obviously, as you say, the fact that Emily are riding high in the MPL East is a testament to it, that Matt Cavanagh can certainly look at with that Silsden squad and think you can keep that squad together, add one or two, that they could have a real chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's a few names that we've not mentioned that have helped Silsden to that win. I'd imagine they're probably pretty high on clean sheets. I mean, most managers, I mean, it happens in a different stratosphere, like Sir Alex Ferguson, etc. Say you build championship teams from back to front. I'm sure that there'll be plenty of players that deserve plaudits as well as the two that we've mentioned. But it's
Casey Stewart
they stand out more.
Yeah, well, this is the thing goal scorers always do. Casey Stewart, to be fair, is the top goal scorer, 26 in all competitions. Cale Price is on 25, and I say the fact that Robbie Fox has chipped in with a few in recent weeks has kind of got them over the line. So massive congratulations to all at Silsden. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Cav on the show in the next week or two before he jets off on a well-earned summer holiday, I'm sure, before pre-season gets underway in the summer, of course. We'll stick with the rest of the non-league. We'll just quickly go through the rest of the NCEL East as well. At the weekend, Campion, they were beaten by 3-0 away at Beverley Town. Golka, they were beaten 2-0 by Hallam. Hallam, who was second in the league. Golka currently sitting third as it stands. Eccleshill United, they were beaten by a 0-0 away at Penistone Rovers. And then, as mentioned, Silsden, they got their title grabbing win away at Pickering Town by 2-1. So the top of the NCEL, Silsden are top on 80 points from 36 games. Then Hallam on 73 from 36. Golka 68 from 35. Beverley 65 from 36. And Thackley currently occupying that last playoff place, 63 points from 36 games. Albion Sports currently sitting 7th. They played tonight against Bottisford Town. They have a game in hand on Thackley, which obviously will be tonight. They are a point behind as it stands. So depending on the result of that, Albion could leapfrog Thackley, or Thackley could maintain their spot in the top 5. I say still 2 games to go for most sides in that division. Into the NCL Division 1, Wakefield. The good form continues-ish. They were beaten by Ilkley last midweek at Wakefield, which was a little bit of a surprise result, but Ilkley, to be fair, going well under Sam Dexter. On Saturday, Wakefield got a 1-1 draw away at Appleby Frodium, so that keeps them currently second in the table. We'll come on to that in more detail shortly. Shelley, they got a good 3-0 win away at Brigtown for the Huddersfield side there with a good win there. And Horbury Town, they continued their good form to be top of the league with a 2-1 win over Yorkshire Amateur. And then the only other game involving aside in the NCL from our region was South Leeds with a 4-3 win over Ellerslie Recreation. So in the NCL Division 1, Horbury Town currently top, 89 points from 39 games. Wakefield, 82 points from 37. So 2 games in hand, win both of those, and they would go a point behind Horbury with, I think it's 2 games to go in that division. Woonwell Town, they are third at the moment, 81 points from 37. Then Durnan District on 72 points from 38. Ilkley Town on 70 points from 39. It leaves them in the final playoff place at the moment. And in a pretty good position. They've got a 4-point cushion over Brigtown, same amount of games played, so I don't think they can be caught. And just looking down the sides below, I think Ilkley are guaranteed, or near enough guaranteed, a playoff spot come the end of the season. So they will have done really, really well under Sam Dexter, having switched from the North West Counties divisions last summer, the first season in the Northern Counties East side of the pyramid, and they are looking on course for a playoff place. We'll quickly just turn attention to the Northwest Counties League, the only side, I think, in the Premier Division from our region. Barnoldswick Town, they got a 1-1 draw away at Chadderton. And into the NCL, the Northwest Counties First Division North. Route 1 Rovers, they lost 3-2 away at Garstang. And Steeton, they were beaten at home by 4-3. A thrilling game in front of just 92 down at Marley Stadium. But they were beaten 4-3 by Main Road. Let's go back up then into the non-league pyramid, Dave, and we'll come to your side in FC Halifax Town. All in all, things have been going pretty well of late under Chris Millington, but it's typical that the 1 week we're able to get you on a Monday night, it had to come after a defeat. Sadly for the SHAYMEN, a 2-0 defeat away at Oldham in a meeting. Was it 4th versus 5th in the league, I think, before kickoff?
It would have been, yeah. It still is. What a week a difference makes. I think I got that the wrong way around.
A week
What
is a long
mate?
time in football, isn't it? Something like that.
It is. Last week we'd come off beating Sutton United 3-0 away, and by all accounts, pretty comfortably. And supporters were looking at, can we even get third place? You know, then we had the cabinet meeting on the 18th of March. Nothing's really been decided from that, but we've had 2 defeats since. We could have gone from beating Dagenham and beating Oldham at the weekend and being 8 points clear of Oldham and having a game in hand to now being 4 points behind Oldham, albeit with a game in hand, which is, I think, tomorrow away at Woking. But this happens every season, and I'm a bit bored of it. I'm a bit fed up of it, actually. Every year we get ourselves in this position. We get to about February, March, and then the injuries start occurring. I mean, I literally had to hold back tears when we took Sam Johnson off on Saturday. He kicked a ball and had quite clearly pulled a muscle. And then about a minute later, that incident happened where a goalie captures the ball easily, but a striker has to put their body into him, and James Norwood did just that, so that won't have helped. But yeah, it's just, we've got like 7 or 8 players out, and it's the same every year. Every season this happens, irrelevant of everything else that's going on around the club. We always end up with a laundry list of injuries, but the strange thing is, I think only one of them's actually happened on the Shea pitch. They've all happened away from home. We lost Smith and High at York. We lost Arthur and Johnson on Saturday. Joe Cummins twisted a knee on Tamworth's 4G pitch. There's only Max Wright and I think someone else that may or may not have got injured on the Shea pitch. But again, every year we have this. We get into a good position in the playoffs, and then we're either already battling with injuries or we just get a laundry list of injuries. Like somebody was talking about how crucial Zach Emerson, and Jack Evans are now. And I put on our forum, they're the next 2 to get injured. They'll be the next 2 to go because they've been ever present. Emerson's had a bit of a run in the team, so he's due to break down now. And that's just how it is.
I mean, you couldn't sound much more pessimistic if you tried in that case, to be honest, mate.
No,
for a side that are currently occupying 5th in the National League table. Obviously, off the back of the defeat on Saturday, you stay 5th. 6 points inside the playoffs as it stands. And, you know, you've got, a tricky-looking game at Woking, although Woking do seem to be falling quite a bit of late. They're certainly not the force they once were in the National League in recent seasons. But obviously, it's an awkward Tuesday night trip.
Yeah, Woking, it's a generalisation. Woking are a bit of a feast or famine team. They tend to have a couple of seasons where they're quite good, and then they'll have a couple of lean years, and then they come back. I mean, they're the biggest club in Surrey. Not by a long way, but they're sort of Surrey's main team, aren't they?
I'll be honest, I mean, geography of that neck of the woods isn't the best, so I will take your word for it. But also, I'm thinking that doesn't sound that spectacular either, does it?
No, it doesn't, but it's still the biggest, you know.
You can imagine a Woking fan with that on a St George's Cross flag, biggest team in Surrey.
Yeah, pride of Surrey. It's just like, so what? But yeah, they are, you know what I mean? Like BBC Radio Surrey will cover Woking.
Yeah.
Almost not to a level of Leeds United, but they are the Leeds United of
Surrey.
Of Surrey, yeah. But we've had a couple of good results there past few seasons. We scored probably one of the worst penalties ever that Angelo Capello took that somehow didn't get saved. And the season before, Tyler Golden popped up and smashed one in from about 30 yards. So we've got a fairly good record against them, which doesn't stand us in good stead because it's no good when we're like the favourites. I don't like it when there's too much pressure on us. Like we took 1,000 to Oldham on Saturday, really, really good numbers followed. You know what I mean? There was only two turnstiles open. We'd just got in just in time for kickoff, yada, yada, yada. And then we had 0 shots on target and 1 off target. It was men against boys. Oldham were the better team by a long way. And that was just the way it were. I thought it'd been a lot closer than what it were, and it just wasn't. They just held us at arm's length. It didn't help that I think for their first goal, and it's something Chris Millington said, we still had Sam Johnson in goal, he was sub soon after. I think if he was at full strength and weren't carrying a knock, he would have probably got to Cian Harrott's opener. There was potentially a foul in the build-up. A few supporters have mentioned that. I didn't see it at the time. The only thing I noticed is as soon as it was headed back in from just outside the 18-yard area. It was like a really good, powerful header. As soon as it left its head, you just know in football when things happen, I was like, this is going to beat our defence and they're going to get onto it. Like I could see, as soon as it left his head, I don't know who headed it. It was one of the Oldham players, obviously, back into the box. I knew they were going to get on the end of it. I don't know what it were. You just get that instinct, or you can just see it from the positioning. I knew it was going to be a goal, and Johnson worked right. And it's something that Chris Millington, like I say, said after. I don't know what team we're going to play down at Woking. I'd imagine we're going to have to play Nathaniel Ford, our backup goalie, again, unless we're going to announce another goalie at the time. I think Johnson and Festa Safa went in for their scans today. So Chris Millington said, depending on how severe the injury is, we're going to have to sign another goalkeeper if he's out for a longer period of time. But I'd imagine we're going to have to start Nat Ford tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of adding to the squad, there's 3 days before the window officially shuts for National League clubs and below. So there is time to try and get for Chris Millington to try and get extra bodies in if the budget and if he feels it's necessary.
Hopefully he's hinted that there might be a few more coming in, but thank goodness we've brought a couple of players in prior to this little injury spree we've had. We've brought in do you know what? I don't know how, but I don't even know the guy's name. His name's something Emmanuel, and we got him when he was released from Grimsby. He's over 6 foot and he plays right back. I think it's Lewis Emmanuel, maybe. He played for Grimsby against Southampton in the FA Cup, and I think since he had an injury, and I think there may have even been talk at that time he may never play football again. Something happened to him, but he's obviously back playing for us, and we've signed
Josh Emmanuel. It's
Josh Emmanuel, yeah. And we've signed. Sorry, go on, guys.
He's been around. To be fair, he's been around a bit. He's not old. He's only 27, but he's a good experienced right back. To be fair, is Josh Emmanuel.
He's practically a pensioner in our team.
Lewis Emmanuel played for City.
Lewis Emmanuel, yeah.
He played for City 20 years ago. Lewis Emmanuel.
No, yeah.
This is Josh. This is
Josh Emmanuel. That's it.
He was released by Doncaster earlier this season, but he has got Grimsby on his CV, the poor fella. So, yeah. Well, we'll see what Chris Millington can do in terms of tomorrow night. I can't ask for a prediction, but as you say, it's hard enough trying to predict the team that's going to play, let alone the result.
The only thing I will say for all the pessimism is when I and other supporters almost write the team off, we tend to pull something out of the bag that just gives us a little bit more hope. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the ground issues because I could keep you quite a while, but from the way I understand it, there's nothing concrete yet. Like the council has said, right, I'm going to sell to Ken Davey, but there's a stipulation that the EFL have to allow Halifax to be promoted. The problem with that is you can only share with one rugby team. The example they give in their paperwork, it's something like Rule 13.3. They say 2 rugby union teams, which would make more sense because rugby unions played almost at the same time as football, whereas rugby league really has little overlap. So they would play a good chunk of their season in the summer when it'd be the football's off season. Nobody's come out and said we can be promoted or we can't be promoted. The council have almost hinted that if we can't get promoted, they're going to have to reconsider the Ken Davey bid. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Nothing's concrete. The club, Halifax Town, made a statement that basically said, we'll make a statement when we have more to say. Why bother making one then? Just don't make one. They're already in hot water for not coming out and taking a stance either way. The longer it's gone on and the more I've had to just try and take on all the different forms of medias and such, I think I'm kind of behind the bid now. It's going to get, I think, irrelevant to what happens. The pitch gets sorted. Ken Davies given interest-free loans. Halifax Panthers land on their feet yet again because their side of the interest-free loan, I believe, has been guaranteed by Calderdale Council. You know, Panthers are top of the championship at the minute, and Huddersfield are bottom. There's one place between this super-duper Huddersfield Giants team that are going to come down and save sport in Halifax and the actual Halifax Panthers. They've won 4 out of 4 this year, and it means jack shit because they can't go up. So what's the point in that sport? It's just, what can I say? Thank God I support football where it's a bit more straightforward, I guess, until there's stuff like this.
Yeah, it's a great game, but it's not necessarily run in the best of ways from the RFL. It's fair to say, down. Let's let's. I've just seen Steve wants to come in on this. I'd rather you didn't, Steve. To be honest, we'll be here till Christmas. How are we, mate? By the way, are you well?
Yeah, not bad. Bad better days, but there we are. Yeah, just I obviously I've missed the main bit of what Dave said, but nice to see you, Dave. By the way, good to have you back on the pod, mate. Obviously, yeah, I used to work in rugby league. RFL run the game as well as what I do, driving a car around a racing track. So for anybody who watches the show sort of on a semi basis, you will understand that that's probably not a good idea with me being registered blind.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, Chris. But yeah, obviously Halifax, the Panthers, obviously they can't go up into Super League due to the grading, and I think it would be a shame if Halifax Town couldn't get promoted due to the two rugby league clubs not able to sort their crap out. To be honest, it's a very smart move from Ken Davey. From it because obviously it's connected to the John Smith Stadium deal.
Yeah,
it's a very smart move from Ken Davey. He's basically bought a ground for £500,000 for not getting a lot back for it.
Where did you hear the £500,000 figure from? I ain't heard that anywhere.
He's bought the ground apparently for between £350,000 and £500,000. That's how desperate Calderdale Council were wanting to get rid of the stadium.
Yeah, because I think to replace the pitch, even with football grants, it's going to cost nearly £750,000. And from what I've heard, I think the football club and with football grants, they've raised about 450,000, and then the other 125,000 split between the Giants and the Panthers. But I don't know if you were on before. The Panthers loan, it's an interest-free loan from Ken Davey. That's one thing that seems to have been concrete from the beginning. And as you can tell, I'm holding my head in my hands. The loan has been guaranteed for Halifax Panthers by Calderdale Council. So
well, Ken Davey does Ken Davey things.
Yeah,
he's a very smart. He's a very smart businessman. Anyway, Chris, I just wanted to come in on the fact because obviously it's connected to town. The stadium at the John Smith Stadium apparently will be done. Coming up to the summer, where town will buy the ground. So that's why the Giants have made this decision. It's obvious. It's obvious that everything from a Huddersfield Town point of view is likely to be sorted very, very imminently. To be honest,
maybe that's why the season tickets have had to go up, Downsy, because it's.
Let's we can get on about that once Gaz has had his go. City.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, like they won't have that whatever money Giants put into the ground or paid rent to the council. There's going to be that gap.
This is a very fair point, actually, and I appreciate. I mean, we would be skipping the rest of non-league, but actually, kind of do want to expand on this because obviously we talked a little bit before we came on out, Steve, in the group chat about the fact that town have put the season ticket prices up in some areas, but not all by the looks of it. But actually, there's a fair point here that obviously if Kevin Nagle is going to invest in solely buying out the John Smith Stadium, that's a massive outlay from him that he's going to want to recoup some money back from a business perspective.
Yeah. I feel like I pushed in on Gaz here, so I'm sorry, Gaz. Terms of...
I also apologise, Gaz, but to be fair, it kind of comes through quite well because it does have a solid link, and if we're honest, it's the only Huddersfield Town point worth talking about tonight.
If we cover City last, we end the show on a positive as well.
Yeah, cover Town first. Cover Town first. It flows, so just cover Town now while it flows, and then we'll do City at the end.
It's like we planned this show live on air. In terms of the buying the season tickets, listen, I don't know if you've got the graphic up, Chris, that you could pull up, but
I mean, which one? I'll be
honest. Not that one. That's Charlton. Don't do that one.
Why did you leave that knocking about? Here we go. This is the Huddersfield one, which I'll be honest, mate. I'm surprised you can see as a man that's registered blind.
And why don't we do that view instead? There
we go.
So, this is how professional we are on this show. So basically, going to the Terriers Together stand, none of the pricing structure within that stand, as you can see at the top of the graphic, has changed. £249 from last season. It's £249 from this season.
So that's the lower tier. That's the lower tier of the Terriers Together stand.
Yeah, so that is basically, realistically, the worst place to sit in the stadium because you get hail, snow, sun, everything.
I've seen it myself, and to be fair, I think there was times earlier last season when I was contemplating taking a town game because I had a free Saturday afternoon. I did notice that was the entire section of seats that was somehow available for dirt cheap.
Yeah, if somebody farts in the stadium, it's normally blown that direction. The Terriers Together upper stand, so that's above that. Again, all the season ticket prices for every area in the ground last season was £249. The Terriers Together upper tier, has gone up to £339 per adult and £89 per child. The Britannia Rescue stand, that's gone up to £389 per adult.
Is that the one called Kilner Bank here?
Kilner Bank, I call it Britannia because that's what it used to be called. But yeah, Kilner Bank. So that's where all the trees are, where we look like we're in Canada. That's had a massive increase. Look at the percentage there, 68% rise. The Riverside lower, where I sit, that's gone up to £419. So I'm going to be having a 78% rise in my season ticket. I've left the Riverside upper for the last because the cowshed, where most of the noise is, where we sit behind the sort of at the side of the away fans, that's the noisiest part of the stadium where you would expect, to get probably the best tickets really. And they've gone up to £369.
Yeah, going up 120 quid for an adult ticket.
Yeah, the upper tier of the Riverside has gone up to £439. That's an 87% increase on season tickets.
Let's just get this right. So, adult £249 for last season, going up to £439 is an increase of £190, which is 76% for an adult. Across the board, when you factor in all the various age groups, on average, it's an 87%. But that's, to be fair, it's the under 14s that are getting clobbered. But at the same time,
everybody's getting clobbered.
Yeah, but the under 14s are the one with the increases of over 100% increase. So, for example, going from £49 to £99. However, I still think, even for an under 14, for League One football at Huddersfield Town, £99 for a season ticket for a child doesn't seem that bad.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. If you want to get kids in, the younger generation, to follow the football club, with so many things that kids can do now and what they're interested in, supporting Huddersfield Town for a £99 season ticket for an under 14, they aren't going to choose it. I don't. Honest to God, they're not football fanatics like us now.
I'm assuming there's a minimum, minimum points on that.
What do you mean?
So, for example, if you were bringing a 2 or a 3-year-old, I wouldn't imagine that would apply.
No, it applies. It's all under 14s. Don't matter what age they are. It's all under 14s. So this is one of the massive points that Town fans have. The fact that they've killed off the younger generation wanting to come and watch the club. They've killed off seniors who have supported the club for maybe 40 years, who don't know how to use a smartphone, technology, and are going to get clobbered in that way. You've then got your regular adults who are now having to pay so much increase in price. HDSA, the Huddersfield Town Supporters Association, did a survey, and they canvassed so many thousands of fans, and most of the representatives who got back to them said that they will be happy to have a £50 or £100 increase, but more like 50 quid. 50 quid would be fine. But the increases that are happening at the moment, we are going to have less than 10,000 season ticket holders in the ground. On it, I ran a poll yesterday on the Twitter page, and although only 60 people got back, It's still a representative of the fan base. 31% said that they would continue to buy a season ticket. 34% said that they wouldn't. And 35% said that they were undecided. You know, that's a massive chunk of the fan base that are either not going to renew or are still undecided. You've got 5 weeks to decide until you're renewing. You've only got one payday. You know, I mean, look at Gazza's club, right? City got 23,000 in yesterday. All right, it was only a £5 a game. But I can guarantee you next season, if City come up, they'll have double the amount of fans at Town will, because they'll respect the prices and they'll respect fans.
Well,
just like hang on though, just like City fans, Town fans have had a decade full of crap. You know, crap football to watch. You know, all right, we went to the Premier League and we come back down, but the downward spiral of that has been absolutely horrific for Town fans. You know, you're supposed to up your prices on the way up, not when you're at your lowest ebb that you've been for 20 years. So for me, it's just not on, and I just think they've sorely misunderstood the area of Huddersfield, you know, and the surrounding area. 29 grand somebody averagely earns here, not 53 grand like in London, and certainly a lot less than what somebody has, earns in California.
What I will say though is a couple of points, and
you can take the graphic off if you want.
Well, we'll keep it just for a moment, because this isn't going to be just a Town issue. I mean, I would hazard a guess that probably 20 out of the 24 League One clubs will probably put a price increase in some form on season ticket out for next season. I know for a fact that Lincoln have put some increases on. I've not got the figures to hand to kind of make a comparison. But I also know, having seen Gaz on Saturday, this is where I want to bring you in on this one, Gaz, that, you know, the Bradford season tickets came out for renewal. And I think off the top of my head, you were saying on Saturday that you'll be looking at, I think, £50 increase on your season ticket.
Yeah, I just wanted to come in on that because obviously Downsy mentioned City. City's pricing came out last week as well. Obviously, it's a little bit different at City because it's a blanket price that doesn't matter where you sit. So it's an adult price, a senior citizen price, and then they do under 24s, under 17s, and under 12s. But mine's gone up from mine were I think it were 249 last year, and it's gone up to 299, so it's gone up 50 quid. My dad's, I think my dad said he paid about 200 last year. Obviously, my dad's in his 70s, so he's paid. He does the over 64 price, and he's just gone up to 263. The under 17, the under 24s, sorry, are 263 as well. The under 17s are 159, but the one that Downsy mentions, obviously, the do you say under 14s, Downsy, the youngest one of you guys too? Yeah, well, City do it for 19 quid, which is obviously an absolute bargain. Yeah.
But Gaz, like, you've paid 50 quid more for your season ticket, right, next season, or you are going to if you decide to renew. I think 50 quid for League Two is not on either. I think it should be, you know, a £25 increase. Most Town fans, if the club came to me, if Town came to me and said, right, we're going to charge you, what'll be 249, it'll be 300 quid. I'd be like, yep, no problem. Be at the ticket office yesterday renewing. But it's the fact that it's going up 419 quid for crap League One football. We don't even have a proper manager. We're hanging on by the playoffs by a thread, you know, and we've been miscommunicated to from the ownership, who sacked 5 managers in the last 18 months. It feels like the fan base has been, you know, sort of ripped off for the mistakes that the football club have made over the last 18 months. Now, on the Town Talk Show yesterday, we talked about a lot of the good things that the club have done behind the scenes. They've done a lot of good stuff. They've put, you know, fantastic infrastructure there. They've put new bars in. They've done a lot of good things, but nobody's arguing that. And nobody's certainly arguing that they couldn't have increased the price, but not by the percentage points that they have done. I think that is the one thing that the fan base is not happy with. And yeah, it could be, Dave, that the fact that, you know, the stadium is being, but at the same time, you know, he's going to get over revenues from the stadium. now once he's bought it.
So
the more fans you have in the stadium, the more pies you buy, the more shirts you buy, the more programs you buy. You know, all that revenue is there to be got at if you price the tickets at a proper price. But because he's going to have less than 10,000 season ticket holders now in the ground, it means less pies bought, less shirts bought, less beer bought, less programs bought. It means less revenue for the football club over the entire season. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm no financial expert. Please, if you get chance, and you are of a football persuasion, not just a town persuasion, please go watch the Town Talk Show yesterday from about an hour onwards to watch the season ticket debate, because I think it's genuinely a football debate that needs to be had, where football clubs need to start to respect fan bases more on that setting.
Were there any differing opinions, though, or was it just, you know, yourself and Kane and Carl, etc., that were all actually in the same boat on this one?
No, we were all. So it was Zach, it was me, and it was Kane, and we were all of the same opinion. 99% of the fan base, no, maybe 95%. I'll give 5% a chance. 95% of the fan base are in the same direction as what I'm saying tonight and what Zach and Kane said yesterday. Parking's gone up by 350 quid.
Oh,
parking.
Oh.
Yeah, to park at the ground.
What in the that is
to park at the ground to park at the ground for the entire season for 23 games is 350 quid work.
So you're talking 800 quid if you get this season ticket then.
If you were
for
a
family of four,
if you were to buy the most expensive ticket and parking,
No, for a family of four, which I am, right? It's £419 per ticket. So that's 800 and that's over nearly 1,600 quid in tickets. You're talking over £2,000 to just go watch Huddersfield Town next season in League One, potentially in League One.
We don't have a car park, so we don't have to worry about
that. How much do you think?
I love you, Glue.
Gamble that in terms of a gamble from kind of the ownership side of things. Gambling on Huddersfield Town being a championship side next season.
Well, there's a lot of gamble. There's a lot of gamble, and B, somebody came up with a comment yesterday that Nagel's playing mind games. Well, I tell you what, it's a mind game, but he's going to lose because you're just going to get voting with the feet.
I wanted to come in on that actually because obviously you've just said is he gambling on championship football, but I suppose like City are in a similar situation, like in that we don't know what division we're going to be in next year as well.
Go either way,
it's difficult, isn't it? I don't know whether we should be comparing ourselves to the division that we want to be in or the division that we are in at the moment. You've obviously got the situation at Town as well. Like someone was talking about this on the City hashtag because obviously the season tickets prices have come out at a similar time. City don't pay transfer fees for players, but Huddersfield Town obviously do. They just forked out £3 million for Joe Taylor.
True.
It does feel, especially in League when you get into League One, that it's a world of have and have nots or spend and don't. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to money, you can probably come in on this because obviously you follow Lincoln. Are they somewhere in the middle regarding that, or are there someone that won't spend the money anywhere near the money that Town have? Will they?
Well, this is the thing. We're not quite at. We've quite a long way since pinching Paudie O'Connor on a free transfer, to be fair, guys. So, but I think there's players like Ethan Arahon, for example, who, when he joined from St Mirren, probably 18 months, 2 years ago, I think we paid $300,000-400,000 for him, sort of thing. So we are a club that will pay out transfer fees, but we're not made of money like Huddersfield Town to pay out $3 million for Joe Taylor. So as proven,
but this is it. Like, are Huddersfield actually made of money, or is this them trying to recoup some money that they've spent?
Well, this is the thing, though, isn't it? This is the balance. And look, I would hate to be a football club owner because you are going to be constantly in this balance of needing to recoup what you're putting out, because you can't recoup everything from, crisp sales and burger sales, etc. It doesn't cut it. So somewhere you've got to change things. And as I say, I've not looked, but I would be extremely surprised, to be fair, if, as I say, if all bar the bottom four sides in League One that go down won't increase their season ticket prices in some way, shape, or form.
But why are the fan base then being punished for their owner coming out and saying, well, the only acceptable outcome this season is promotion. Therefore, we'll have to go and buy 2 strikers in January costing more than £4 million, right? Because we've made mistakes before in the strike force that we've previously paid for because they're either crap, injured, or just not non-existent at the football club. Like, why is the fan base always the ones to be punished? I think that's the big thing. It's kind of when the football clubs actually get it in their head at our level, sort of, I'm talking League One, League Two, and below. That sometimes it's about putting up and shutting up rather than, you've got to be able to walk the walk at times rather than talking the talk. And at the moment, there's been a lot of talk and not much walking. And I think that's what's annoyed a lot of Town fans. I really do. And it's just so depressing. Like I said, the biggest debates to come out of this are the increases fair? No. But then outside football fans like yourself, actually, compared to other football clubs, it's probably on price. But then for Town fans, that have had, a good season ticket for years, you've also got to take into account the cost of living crisis, the way things are being run at the moment, how people are feeling about the football club, but in life in general, for a lot of people, and I think some of us in the group, football is an escapism. It's good for his mental health. And I think, as much as what our side, I was going to say, but I think some, we use football as a vehicle for our mental health. And I think what this takes away is a lot of people's ability to economically, He's
gone.
I was going to say, has he? Is he?
I think everyone else is all right, apart from for me, Steve's froze.
I think it's just Steve.
And I think Gaz has just been stoic and still. Yeah, there he is. He's had a little wave now.
We'll see if we can get Downesy back in due course. I mean, what do you two think on this though? Before we kind of move away from this, in terms of, look, obviously, Gaz, we talked on Saturday about the season ticket increases for City, and on the grand scheme of things, they don't seem too bad. They especially don't seem too bad if that's the price you can pay now, and you were to kind of go up. But even if it was to stay the same in League Two, or to kind of, if City were to remain in League Two, it doesn't seem too bad of an increase. Again, I hate to say it, in this day and age, from a football club perspective, I appreciate, and look, I fully appreciate that football is such an expensive thing to do nowadays with the cost of living crisis and the fact that everything's going up. But that's the problem. Everything is going up as well. So from the football club's perspective, everything that they have to kind of shell out for to host everything and to get everything on is going up as well.
I think the difference with us, obviously, is that we've had, so far today, touch wood, hopefully it continues, above expected season, or a good season, shall we say, whereas obviously Town were expecting to be doing better than they are. So that's the difference regarding us, I think. And yes, it has gone up. City have always been, City were obviously the flag bearers with this cheap season ticket pricing that, however long ago it was, coming up to 20 years ago now, probably. But we were the flag bearers with the first cheap season tickets. And now, we're not the cheapest anymore, but we're still very, very competitive. If it was a competitive market, when you're comparing it to other clubs, we are still competitive. I don't know. Obviously, you had the graphic up before for Charlton. I don't know how Town compares to League One clubs, but City are still competitive, and they've put the increase on the back of a so far good season.
I can jump in on that.
Yeah, go on, Dave. Well,
okay, so that's sorry, go on. That's Charlton in League One, and we're going to half say the same for Downesy, but he covered London being a bit more affluent. A season ticket at Sutton United in our league, 2 levels below next season's similar to Huddersfield, but like Downesy said, London can be a bit more affluent. Now we're looking at another London club. Other than what, there's a couple of zones at the bottom. Zone 2 and Zone 1. They're the only 2 that are more expensive than Sutton, and they're 2 leagues below. But we don't get the same. I think you get £1 million a year for being in the EFL, and it doesn't really make a difference because every club gets that £1 million. So I don't know, like players and agents know every team gets that, yada, yada, yada. But there's certain amounts of funding in the AFL that allow clubs to be a little bit more like this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bit of a low-hanging fruit to say it. You could be a Reading fan right now. They've got real problems. You know, I don't think it's going to come to fruition, but if they can't get rid of this fella in a manner that suits the AFL, they'll be kicked out of the leagues. They may not even, you know, I mean, I can't imagine. I think something will materialise, but that's crisis time. You know, that Reading are a crisis club at the minute. I mean, £350 for parking is outrageous, absolutely outrageous on top of the pricing. But at the same time, there's teams 2 leagues lower that are charging that amount for their games. I mean, it's £22 to go to the Shay as an adult.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing.
You know what I mean? It's whatever level you're at.
Yeah, because I mean, Rochdale, for example, you know, obviously same league as Halifax, and you know, you say it's 22 for on the day ticket for Halifax. I think it's 20.
You can only buy on the day, cash only as well. Remember?
Oh, of course.
Because we're so archaic in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think for others for Rochdale, sorry, off the top of my head, I think it's a couple of quid cheaper if you buy in advance, and if you were to kind of pay on the day, it'd be I think 24.
Oldham did something similar.
They didn't really change the prices when they came down from League 2, I think.
Advance tickets at Oldham for an adult were 20 or 25 on the day. So I mean, that's what, a 20% rise on the day. Actually bought ours earlier. I bought mine early, so it cost me 20 quid. I wish I hadn't done, but I did.
I'm not sure if Downes is fully back with us.
I don't know if anybody can hear, but yeah. I ain't got a clue what you've been on about. You might have been on about Martians for all I know, but yeah, it's
we were just touching on the Charlton thing, to be fair, mate, with their pricing, and Dave was making the point that Sutton United in the National League, their season ticket is not a great deal cheaper than Charlton Athletic in League 1.
I think they're both South West London clubs as well.
Yeah,
so they're even in the same area of London. I mean, obviously London's a huge place, but it costs more. Other than I think the top 2 categories for Charlton, it costs more because obviously Sutton are a bit like Bradford in that they're just a flat rate anywhere. I think they cost more other than in 2 areas to follow a team that's 2 leagues lower.
It's certainly an interesting topic, and I'm sure it's something we'll be able to come back to in the coming weeks as well, when more and more sides across the respective leagues kind of put out the season ticket prices, and we can have a real comparison and a real look, really, at how sides in our region compare across the league's averages. All I'm saying, Downes, I dread to think what Birmingham City fans are being increased on their season ticket when they've got £11 million for Jay Stansfield to somehow recoup. Let's finish.
Let's end on a positive with Gav.
Well, it's just dawned on me that we kind of, obviously, I appreciate we got sidetracked, but that was my fault as well. So I'm just quickly going to finish off the non-league stuff because I didn't actually get round to doing that. So in the, we covered Halifax and then obviously moved on to the town situation. As for the rest then of the National League North, obviously for Farsley Celtic, our sole side in the National League North, and it was a disappointing result for them at the weekend. Obviously, the well-publicised issues they've had. They lost 4-0 on Saturday away at Spainwell Town and remain bottom of the National League North. Into the Northern Premier League, and Guiseley, they got back to winning ways. They were an away win at Hebburn Town. John Lafudu with the only goal of the game to get the 3 points for Guiseley in a league which saw Macclesfield crowned Northern Premier League champions, 20 points clear at the top. 91 points Macclesfield Town are on.
How boring.
Then Worksop are on 71 points, and then Guiseley on 68. Guiseley with a nice 6-point cushion to Stockton Town, who sit 4th. If Guiseley, they'll obviously be looking to finish as high as possible, and if they could just sneak that second spot that Worksop currently occupy, it would obviously leave them in the best possible position come the playoffs at the end of the season. In the MPL East, numerous of our sides were in action over the course of the weekend. Also, United, they lost 3-1 at Carlton Town. Brighouse Town, they got a much-needed win, a big win away at Concert by 2-1. Bradford Park Avenue, they lost on the road away at Dunstan UTS by 2-1. So a little bit of a sticky patch, it's fair to say, as we spoke to Lou about last week for Avenue at the moment. Emily, they continue their good season with a 2-1 win over Sheffield. Liversidge lost 2-0 at home to Bishop Auckland. And Garforth Town won 2-1 away at Sherwood Collieries. So as for the Northern Premier League East, the sides across our region, Emily sits second. They are behind Cleethorpes Town, who are 9 points ahead of Emily. Emily, as I say, sitting second and currently occupying a playoff spot, and will more than likely get that as well come the end of the season. Then working down the league, Emily, of course, who were promoted, the other promoted side into the NPL last season, was Garforth Town. They sit 9th currently, ahead of Bradford Park Avenue in 10th. Brighouse Town are currently 14th, Ossett 15th. Pontefract Collieries are 17th, and Liversidge, sadly, with that defeat of the weekend, they remain in the bottom 4. And it does look like a little bit of a mountain to climb at the moment for Ryan Toulson's side. 9 points adrift of Ashington and Safety as it stands, with very, very few games to go in the rest of the season. That finishes off the rest of the non-league, so we can now turn our attention, Gaz, to yourself and to Bradford City, and we can make this quick anyway. It was just a happy, excellent, fantastic Saturday afternoon at Valley Parade, apart from the weather in the end.
Yeah, obviously they did the cheap tickets, £5 to get in, and it just was a really happy place to be on Saturday. And good performance, smiling faces. So much so that they've decided to do it again for the Crew game in a couple of weeks. Normally City don't turn up when it's a big crowd like that, so it was good to see that we did. Colchester obviously came into it on the back of being top of the form table. I think they'd won 5 on the bounce.
Wow.
Yeah, they'd won 5 on the bounce. They were unbeaten since January. I think it were 13 games unbeaten. I got it wrong on Saturday. I said 10, but I think it was 13. And after the first 5 minutes, of which Colchester started really, really well, had sort of a half chance, if you will, from a free kick, where I think it was Lyle Taylor turned one of our centre halves far too easily. Other than that, after that, City just took over, really. Dominated the game from then on, and deservedly won 4-1. Had lots of chances, took 4 of them. The only point that you could say where it could have gone different was at the start of the second half, when it was 2-1 to City, and Neil Byrne gave the ball away in the right-hand centre-back position, and Colchester's informed striker went clean through on Sam Walker. Is it Edwards he's called?
Yeah, Awura Edwards.
And put his shot wide. The corner was goal kick was given, but when you actually see the replay, it's a really good save from Sam Walker, who tips it round the post. But other than that, and like I said, that first 5 or 10 minutes, City dominated and looked really, really good. And it was one of our best performances of the season, if not. One of my mates said after the game that it was one of the best performances in front of such a big crowd that we've probably had in 20 years, because normally in front of a big crowd, we just don't turn up at all. Barring obviously the Parkinson era when we had the cup runs and stuff, definitely in the league. So yeah, it was good because we'd come off the back of 2 disappointing results against Gillingham and Tranmere. Everybody was getting carried away. We're going to win the league, blah, 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 blah. And then we go down to Gillingham and they do us over in what you'd probably call anti-football, spoiling tactics. Tranmere did exactly the same, although the Tranmere game, we should have still won that game. We had the chances to win it. They've not gone near our goal, barring the penalty, and just scored in probably the only time they've gone into our box. And referee, we won't go on that again because we went down that route last week, but the referee has had a huge influence on that game. And so it was really good to bounce back and bounce back in style.
Yeah, as you say, it was a record attendance at 23,381, including a good number as well from Colchester, 756. A record broken for City, Gaz, and yeah, as you say, it all went so well they decided to do it again in a couple of weeks' time. I think £10 for the adults and over 65s, and like a £5 for all the kids sort of thing.
I believe so. It's £5 concessions, £10 for adults and senior citizens. Hopefully, if we can turn up like we did on Saturday, hopefully that performance has got a few people interested and they'll want to come back, and they'll come back not just when it's cheap tickets, they'll come back when it's full price, or they might even be tempted to get a season ticket next year, depending on what division we're in. It was just really, really good place to be. The other bonus for Saturday as well, I think we spoke, obviously you came to the game, didn't you, Chris, and sat with us at City. We had Bobby Poynton and Alex Patterson back on the bench on Saturday, who have been badly, badly missed since they've been out with injury.
And they both got some minutes.
They did. They both come on for the last. Obviously, the game was safe by then. I think it was 4-1 at that point, but it was nice to see them get 10 minutes each towards the end. That's been a big positive, because I think, and I said all along, that losing those two and Anthony Sarcevic was going to cost us. Like I say, I'm still not confident. City fans are getting carried away again after that performance. I'm still want to make sure. I'm just desperate to finish in that top 3. I'd love to get automatic promotion. Whether we can still do it or not, I don't know. We go to Accrington on Saturday, and then we've got a really tough April, as I've talked about on this podcast before. Port Vale away, Chesterfield away, Doncaster away, Swindon away, and Crewe and Notts County and Fleetwood at home. That's our end to the season. So just pick up as many points as we can. Hopefully we keep going on Saturday and pick up another 3 points at Ake, and then it's a huge game at Port Vale, because I think you've got the table up there. They're 5 behind us, but do have a game in hand. So hopefully, if we can win on Saturday, then a draw at Port Vale's not a terrible result.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As you say, the fact that Walsall dropped points as well again on Saturday really kind of has. I mean, look at that form for Walsall. That kind of tells you all you need to know at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not someone that people are talking about winning the league. That'd be a bonus for me. I just want to finish in that top 3. What's interesting, if you just bring that up again, Chris, could you? It's what it's become now is obviously Walsall are now back in the pack with everybody else, whereas they were looking nailed on for automatic promotion. They're now not nailed on for if we're not nailed on for automatic promotion, then Walsall aren't nailed on for automatic promotion either. So it's just made it 3 places to go for rather than just 2 in that top 3.
Absolutely, and you can see as well with that Crewe game in a couple of weeks' time, just what a big game that will be as well. The fact that Crewe still have a lot to play for as well to try and make the playoffs. Obviously, their form has dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, but I'd say certainly a big a big game. Sorry, when that one comes around in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully it'll be another bumper crowd at Five Parade.
Yeah, you would hope so, based on what happened on Saturday. Hopefully, like I say, we've picked up. I'd like to think we can get a win and a draw out of our next 2. That should set up the Crewe game nicely for another big crowd. What is sort of interesting as well is that there's been talk today or rumours online today that our last away game of the season is Doncaster. Now that's going to be absolutely massive, because you can see where Doncaster are in the league. I think if they win, they're behind us. If they win the game in hand, they're 6 behind us at the moment. There are rumours online over the weekend that they're 3,000. We took 4,000 there 2 years ago, 4,000 in the away stand. The rumour that the story is that they've been limiting it to 3,000 this season. But the rumour online that's gone round over the weekend and today is that Grant McCann is insisting that we're given the bare minimum for that game if it becomes like a promotion decider. So 50. If that is the case and he's putting his foot down, that would be 1,500 tickets. 1,500 tickets for that game, when City have taken 4,000 to Donny in the past. So it's going to be an absolute scramble. But that just shows you the race that we're in at the moment and how everyone's trying to, or desperate to, get an advantage over everybody else.
I'm surprised he's not trying to give you 15 tickets, let alone 1,500 tickets.
Because he knows what I mean, obviously the City crowd can be a negative and has been a negative many, many times. But as you saw on Saturday, Chris, what a positive the crowd can be when you the team and the crowd can bounce off each other and get each other going like what happened on Saturday. Yeah,
the atmosphere, I have to say, was very, very impressive. And it was, I mean, just made a change, to be honest with you, to go to a match of Five Parade and hear a unified stadium, a unified support behind the club.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, with always 2 games from a crisis at City, we would have been there, I think, if we'd lost on Saturday, because that would have been 3 on the bounce, and one result, a performance like that has got everybody giddy again. So yeah, the crowd at City can go both ways and normally go the wrong way. But at the moment, everybody's happy and everybody's smiling, and long may that continue. And that's only going to continue if we keep picking up victories. And hopefully we can do that at Aki on Saturday. I think we're taking 2,600, if not 2,700 fans to Aki on Saturday. So it's going to be probably more away fans than home fans at that game.
Yeah, by contrast to Doncaster, Accrington have literally done all they can to supply City with tickets, haven't they? They've been moving, I think, regular ticket holders from home stands into other areas just to kind of free up extra availability for Bradford City fans. So that would be a good atmosphere with that lunchtime kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, I believe so. Obviously, the Doncaster thing's not confirmed yet. That's just the rumour that's doing the rounds. But yeah, Aki have been seeing it as an opportunity probably to make some money, really, and get as many fans into the ground as they can. And like you said, they have moved. I think the initial allocation was about 1,600, and then they gave us some more, which put it up to about 2,300. And then I think they've moved a couple of hundred fans, home fans, out of where they normally sit, so that they can get as many in as they can from City.
Well, as we touched on with Huddersfield earlier now, clubs need to find ways to make some money, don't they? So, yeah. Let's hope for a good result, though, for the Bantams, of course, on Saturday. And
fingers crossed.
Let's see what they can do, and let's hope that, let me just double-check, Walsall maybe drop some points. I mean, to be fair, they're at home to Wimbledon on Saturday, so it wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to get carried away with the title charge, Gaz, even if you're...
I want draws, mate. Someone put up Walsall's next few fixtures. I can't remember what they are now, but they've got like Wimbledon and Donny and Port Vale or something, or they've got teams in and around that top 6 or 7 in the next 3. I just want draws. I just want them to draw, get them both dropping points and us winning. That's all I want. I want to finish in that top 3 if possible.
Well, there we go. Let's finish at that then. A big thank you to Gareth Walker and to Dave Foy for being with me from the start as well. Big thank you to Stephen Downes as well, who joined us a little bit earlier on. And once again, a massive congratulations to all at Silsden AFC as well for winning the Northern Counties East League Premier Division title and joining the likes of Bradford Park Avenue in the Northern Premier League East next season. Big congratulations to Matt Cavanagh and all of his team there at Silsden. We'll be back next Monday, of course, with our usual weekly roundup. Do keep an eye on social media for any Leeds United and Huddersfield Town-based content. I'm sure Downsy will want me to plug the show that he did yesterday, a Town Talk special, that by all means is certainly worth a watch or a listen to, judging from the debate that him, Kane, Zach, and the rest of the lads had regarding season tickets and everything else regarding Huddersfield Town. So that's on our YouTube channel, available to watch on there as well. But a big thank you from myself and the lads. We'll go and catch the second half of the England game, and we'll see you soon here on the West Yorkshire Football Show.